You can go whenever you're ready, Amy.
All right. Okay.
I thought she went before we started recording.
Huh?
Oh
my gosh.
You're so hyper tonight. This is going to be awesome.
The thing is, I come alive at night and then I'm on drugs. And so it's just like, I apologize in advance what comes out of my mouth. Remember what I said before, Amy? I can't be held reliable for anything that happens after midnight.
Exactly.
So basically, Nicole is a gremlin. Yikes.
That would be the first time.
And there's our other geek highlight right there. Watch Gremlins. Woo! Okay. I can do this.
And breathe.
It's been a year since I've run a review. Since Spotlight Bumblebee, and you remember that one, Nicole, right?
Spotlight Bumblebee was awesome.
That was a year ago.
Amy,
I looked this up.
Amy, we spent 2 hours last night making sure that we could go through this. You'll be fine.
I just get nerves. It's just hardwired into me.
Think of it as internet radio with no live audience. Or just assume the audience is naked. That'll help.
Oh yeah, right.
Or just remember that part of your audience is cleaning a toilet, and we'll be really grateful for any sort of entertainment you can provide.
Wait, question. You're supposed to be dressed while we record? Oh, dang. I didn't know.
I can't deal with that now.
Transmission is go. The Pullback crosses over with the Underbase podcast to review the 4-issue miniseries, Transformers Windblade. Join your hosts, the long-suffering TFG1 Mike, the committed LadyWreck, the amped Hailstorm, and the pretender Ha-HeePrime, as they bring you in-depth analysis of the mostly all-female team of Margaret Scott, writer, and Sarah Stone, artist, as Windblade takes IDW publishing to new heights of awesomeness. Get ready to pull your bag under the base in this first ever crossover event.
Welcome to the Underbase. I am your host, Amy, aka LadyWreck. But wait, this isn't just Underbase today. For this review, we are doing a wicked cool crossover podcast with Geekcast Radio Network's The Pullback. So, we have our Underbase review team plus one. Can we do it? Of course we can. We're the Underbase. We have superpowers. So, introducing my wicked awesome cool team, Nicole, aka Lady Beatles Diva.
I got it. We're playing games.
Okay.
I'm taking over LadyWreck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I slipped that in there. Oh, there you go. Woohoo! I can no longer woohoo like Nicole.
I'm still your woohoo.
That's cool. That's cool. Heather, a.k.a. Ha-HeePrime.
Yo!
And Geekcast.
I have nothing to compare it with Nicole, so
There's nothing wrong with that. And Geekcast Radio Network's podcasting extraordinaire, TFG1 Mike.
Hello, angels.
Welcome to the show.
So you are going off with my suggestion, yeah.
Yes,
just
of
for
course.
that, you are Bosley.
Hell no!
Just don't call him Bosley to his face.
You tempt us.
And what, pray tell, are we reviewing today? Well, the wait is finally over. We are here to review Windblade. This is why we have so many ladies on the show, because why not? And the Underbase teams have so much testosterone and dudes that it's about time we have a team to represent the mighty women of the Transformers fandom. So,
Now, I just want to pull back the curtain for the listeners.
Okay.
When I originally brought
I gotta get dressed first.
When I originally brought this idea up to Amy, I originally told her I would produce the episode only, that it would just be the three of you, and then she was like, no, we want a guy's perspective as well. So I'm reluctantly here, and I'm flashing back to junior prom memories where I was the only guy on the all-girls prom committee.
I'm so glad you added more words after I'm flashing. Thank you.
I don't think guys have that problem.
So, this is the only team that you need, listeners. This is the only team that you need.
Wait. We had the A team. We have team number 1. So, what team is this?
I decided not to go there.
Team O. Team O. You figure it out, people.
Actually, I did have an idea, but I decided that I didn't want to have it, like, spewed all over the internet after this show, and I thought, no, that would be, yeah. So I'm not gonna say.
Oh, come
Do
on.
we need to tag this podcast in red?
No. This is why. Well, thank you so much for coming to join us, Mike. I really, really appreciate you being here.
Of course.
All right, cool.
Notice she didn't say that about me.
She works with you all the time.
You here, Nicole? I just thought, he's the fish out of water because all of us ladies are here, and thank him for putting up with us.
We will douse you with estrogen.
I can adapt to anything, and I'm sure my dirty mind would go even further than Nicole's sometimes.
Why do people think I have a dirty mind? I do not have a dirty mind. I'm the cleanest person here.
Right.
No. You guys don't know that conversation Amy has with me. I'm the cleanest one here, and I stand by my what I say.
Hey, I'm just going to put it out there for all of those people out there that know Nicole better than I do. What do you think? Please tweet it out there. Who's dirtier?
I will say this for the listeners' perspective as far as Amy goes. We had a conversation about Windblade the couple of nights before this podcast will go up. And somehow my brain flashed to the fact that she could potentially be what would happen if C-3PO and R2-D2 had a baby.
Are you talking about Windblade or Amy?
Windblade, not Amy.
Amy actually makes better sense.
Okay, then.
I'm never going to get this podcast finished.
No, we're not.
You should have recorded late at night, man.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Credits. What do we got here? We have 3 covers. Actually, I take that back. Okay. Credits. I meant to actually go. We've got written by Margaret Scott, art by Sarah Stone, who's also doing her own coloring. Letters by Chris Mowry. Editorial assistance by Rebecca Hard. I guess I'm saying that right. Hard?
Yes.
Huard?
Huard. There you go.
That is a last name. It's like Huard.
That is a cool last name.
Yeah, awesome. And editor John Barber.
Hi, John.
Captain Continuity.
Yes.
We have 3 covers. We have the standard cover by Casey Collar and the lovely Joanna LaFuente. This was the teaser cover of the series, Windblade floating over Cybertron with her curvy sword. The subscription cover by Sarah Stone, her reflection in the badass sword. And the incentive cover by Livio Ramadelli, where the sword is illuminating Windblade's face as Cybertron is dawning below. All great, but which one tickles your fancies, ladies?
See, at this point,
Nicole.
There's so many of us, you're going to have to choose. Yeah.
I know, I was like, Nicole.
I'm nominating
Okay.
you.
For me, because I saw the incentive cover and I'm like, the incentive cover is beautiful, but I really like that subscription cover. I don't know. It's like because with the rest of the issue, this cover kind of shows off more of her personality that goes along with the story, I think.
Mm.
Even though the first cover is really cool. And of course, Livio, he always does some great stuff, but I'm going with, the subscription cover.
Okay. Heather.
I gotta agree with Nicole.
You better.
Hey, I don't live that close to you. I can say stuff about you behind your back, and it'll take you a while to wheel down here and get me.
Oh, but trust, girl, I got plenty of time on my hands.
It's not a challenge, Heather.
You know what? If Nicole, if you wheel up on my doorstep one time, I will just be super, super stoked. And also slightly afraid. But anyway, covers. Yeah, I love the subscription cover. It's just, there's something about Sarah's art that it's just so liquid and beautiful, and I will try to hold in my squeebling about it, but it's awesome. Yeah, the others are not bad, although I gotta say, despite the fact that I love Livio, that cover scares me a little bit. She's sort of looking into my soul, and I'm not sure if I like it.
That is a very good point. Oh my goodness. From anywhere that you look at that cover, she follows you.
Like, her eyes are following me. She's like, this is my planet.
I thought you were going to say, this is Sparta.
Well, that too. She's totally going to kick somebody off. Oh my gosh. But yeah, anyways, that's where I'm sticking my flag on this one, man.
Awesome. And Mike?
Here's the thing with me and my comic shop and covers. I actually had to show them on IDW's books where to look for the different cover designations, because a lot of times they weren't pulling the subcovers when there were subcovers, and I'm one of those people that if a comic company is saying, if I subscribe to this, I'm going to get this, then I damn well better have the option to get it.
Yeah.
Whether I choose to get it or not is fine, but at least afford me the option to do so. I like the subcover as well. I wish that, I don't know for the 4-issue miniseries if Sarah is going to be doing, or if Casey's going to be doing the main cover for all 4 and Sarah's going to be doing the subcover for all 4. But I think it just makes more sense for me to, not that I have anything against Casey's art. And Livio, he's great. The only problem is I've seen the covers put together, the retail incentive covers, where it shows Optimus, Windblade, and Megatron, and it shows Cybertron in the background. Windblade looks like she's Darth Vader with a Jedi lightsaber. So, but yeah, the subscription cover is the one that I like and the one that I would pick.
Awesome. You know what? I can't argue with any of you guys because it's four people for the subscription cover, because when I saw that I was like, ooh, and you're right, it does like bring out Windblade's personality more than the other ones. I like the other two as well. I mean, I love Casey's stuff. I've loved everything that he's done, and I continually gush about him often, and the same with Livio. But for me, it's good. Sarah's gonna steal it this time, man. That's just how it goes.
Well, I mean, they're both, Casey and Livio are both great. I just think because they mostly do the ongoing stuff, and you have, for the majority, an all-female team here, it makes sense to go with the cover that's most like the series versus, like, the main cover is her set against the backdrop of Dark Cybertron, and part of that teaser was After the Dark.
Yeah.
You know, after the dark comes the dawn. And it's just one of those things where I like it, it's cool, but it doesn't really give me a whole lot. It shows me what she could be doing on Cybertron during Dark Cybertron, but it doesn't really tell me much about what she's going to do in her own little miniseries here.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, we come to a previously page. No more summary on our contents pages now. What do you guys think about that? Is that a good switch?
Yes. Most definitely. My problem with the summary page when they would do it on the contents page is half the time the writing would be so small, and without correction, I have 2200 vision. With correction, I have 2060. So for me to actually read that tiny text, I have to put my glasses on. Really, no thanks.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to miss it for one reason alone. I got 2 words for you. Chris McFeely. He does such a wonderful flashback, you know, last time.
Oh, no, that's exactly what they're doing, though. Because, like, before, all we would get is just a little, like, on the contents page, we'd get a little paragraph summary of what's going on, and we wouldn't get, like, this art page where it's previously, and they have all that stuff. That's what I was saying. Is it a good switch? And I like that, too. How about you, Heather?
I'm torn because I really like the simplicity of just the summary page, because when I open a comic book, I really want to just get immersed into it right away. And I feel like the previously page is useful enough to, sometimes it'll clarify something that maybe I didn't quite, cotton onto or something, but I feel like I should read it, but it also, it's like another step before I can get into the actual comic. And it kind of bugs me. So I was actually hoping that they wouldn't continue this, but we'll see.
Okay, cool. All good points. Yeah. Okay, so basically, the universe nearly came to its end, but Cybertron united, and the day was saved by the combined forces of the Autobots and Decepticons, and some new arrivals. Optimus Prime, the Autobot commander, returns to face a new world order. Megatron, the Decepticon leader, joins the side of his longtime enemies. And Windblade, the newcomer, arrives on Cybertron and makes a place for herself. And that's what this issue, Windblade, the newcomer, and that's what this issue starts. So if you want to see the whole adventure on how she comes to Cybertron, read Dark Cybertron Volume 1 and 2, which is 12 issues long, and you could probably still get it at the time of this recording. You can probably pick up the single issues. So if you're lucky, yeah. But before...
Now, I have to say really quickly, with this previously page, they basically put all three main covers as part of the bottom panel to give you the backstory for Optimus, Megatron, and Windblade.
Yeah.
When I first saw the image of Megatron for After the Dark, and he had the Autobot symbol on him, like, oh yes, they're taking it to Shattered Glass. Yes, 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 do it. And then, no, he's just joining the Autobots. Okay, that's all right.
I'm good with that. I'm really good with that. I'm not on that podcast. We're doing Windblade, so...
Well, true.
I'm looking forward to that first issue to find out. So, how did he get it? What happened? How did the Decepticons take that? But yes, that's for entirely another podcast, but yeah.
And if you think about that one image here, it's basically a reverse of what happened in Prime when Optimus reverted to Orion and had a Decepticon symbol branded onto him.
Good point. Very good point. So, recap. Here we have a recap. Do listeners have to read Dark Cybertron to read this issue?
If they're going to skip the recap page, if they're going to skip the previously page and just start at the 6 months later page or something, I would say probably not. Or if they're even going to start with just the Windblade page, I'd say probably not. But if you really want to know how she got to, well, how she interacted with the people on Cybertron, I'd say at least read part of it.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, I think you could just dive right into this, honestly. I mean, obviously, whenever you dive into the middle of any comic book series, there's gonna be stuff that you don't know. But I feel like this did a great job of immersing you in the world right away. And you're gonna know enough to be totally fine.
I think right now, you don't, but I think it's gonna probably be playing out probably in, if not the next issue, number 3. Because I think with this issue, I'll probably get a little ahead of myself. She has a relationship with Metroplex, and that was you kind of get to the heart of it through Dark Cybertron. Of course, you don't have to read it in this issue, but it was nice to see. And the thing is with Dark Cybertron, and again, probably getting ahead of myself here, to me, she had a whole different personality in that series as she did this one. Because in that series, I did not care for Windblade. I'm just like, this woman has no personality. She's not going anywhere. And just with this single issue, it has changed my mind. Yeah. So if you want to see how she's changed, yeah, you need to go read it. But if you just want to see this side of her, no, you don't.
Well, isn't that just
confused everyone?
But she was also being written by other people at the time, and. Exactly. I don't think it was that they wanted to step on any toes and things like that. So they didn't really cast her or give her any personality because they didn't know what was going to be done with her.
Yeah, that's the thing. She didn't have a personality. That's why I didn't care for her in Dark Cybertron.
Yeah. Well, and just to kind of add to that, I don't think that you need to read Dark Cybertron either, because all she really did was just be introduced. And she just happened to be there when they found Metroplex. And then when they got to Cybertron, all she did, her and her sisters did, is jump off and start kicking people's butts. And that was about it.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't really have a purpose. It was just the fact that she was there when they found Metroplex. And she just happened to say, hey, I speak for him. And then we go into more detail about that in this issue. So, okay.
And there's something magical about, really fast, there's something magical about diving into a world and not knowing everything. And just being like, oh, and kind of having to infer things. It's really, really fun.
Yeah. Well, and it gives you a chance, like I said, if this is somebody's first issue, because I always like to kind of, throw that in there, because this quite literally, it kind of feels that that's what IDW is doing with Transformers right now, is saying, hey, now we wrapped up our event. It's a great time to jump back on. So, yeah, because they're kind of saying, hey, this is a great place to jump on for everybody that hasn't jumped on yet, I really hope that, if somebody picks up Windblade, they're like, hey, this kind of makes me want to go, all right, this is what Transformers is. I'd like to read more. So, we'll see how that goes. But all opinions, of course, everybody, there we go. And we're moving on. So 6 months later, we get a page of 6 months later, because there's got to be a gap between things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we start this issue on a bright new morning, a dawn of Cybertron, and Windblade is narrating, because this is her story, obviously. And it says, dawn's breaking on Cybertron. The stars fade and the sun peeks over the horizon. And just before it's light enough to really make things out, I pretend as hard as I can that I'm home. Because every moment after, there's no denying that I'm not. And she jumps down and transforms off to get to where she should be, which is having a training session with Chromia, who is none too happy that she's late.
Okay, before we get to Chromia and all the myriad issues she has, the Windblade transformation here.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody see a little bit of thrust in her jet mode?
No, I thought that when I first saw her. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very nice. It's so fluid, like you mentioned, Heather, where the art is just very fluid. Yeah. And basically, these two ladybots, they go straight into practice, which Chromia beats her good, because, hey, man, she's got to keep Windblade ready.
Because Chromia is the gal, man. She knows how to get stuff done.
Now, there are a few things mentioned on page 2 that I thought were pretty interesting. Not only do we get a little bit of background, but Chromia calls Windblade a city speaker. And we find out that they came from a world called Caminus, which we will learn a little more about later in the issue. And Chromia is charged with bringing her back in one piece, so they aren't staying. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Either that or I just assumed that meant that she'd been her bodyguard. Well, I guess charged, maybe that's a recent thing, but they act like they've had a, sort of commander-bodyguard relationship for a while.
Yeah.
So I guess I just assumed back in one piece from every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be back home. I mean, I get the feeling that they want to go back home.
Okay. Anybody else?
I don't know. I mean, I'm of the opinion that, Cybertron is
The place to be.
95% male robots. It needs to at least have an extra 5% of female robots. The more females, the better. Now, I do have to say about this page here, when she shows up and she says, "Sorry, I'm late." Every time I've seen Windblade so far to this point, she reminds me of a cross between Lydia from Beetlejuice and Queen Amidala from Star Wars.
Exactly.
Oh, I can't.
Not that it's a bad thing, but seriously, if you look at the solicitation for issue 3's cover, where it's her with the lines on the page, she looks just like Lydia from Beetlejuice. Just her
So
facial
true.
expression, everything about it. As far as I'm going back, they just got here. Why do we have to bring up the fact that they might go back eventually? You know?
But everyone wants to go back home every once in a while. I mean, it's your home. You know, I can't imagine being thrusted out into a whole new world and say, "Hey, get along." You know, it's just like, okay. You know, I mean, that's basically what our military people go through. They're thrust from their comforts of home into a place that they have nothing to do with, that they have to defend, and they feel a little lost for a while. Yeah, they do want to go back home. So.
Yeah. I kind of got the feeling that they aren't there to stay. I mean, I'm guessing that by the end of the series, we probably will have them staying, obviously, but I kind of liked the idea that they're there for a job, but yet at the same time, and we learn more about that, of course, as we read the issue. But I also like the idea of some of the bots having the ability to speak to city formers, like Metroplex. I kind of liked that little detail of, you know, just fleshing out something new that we've never really looked at. So I'm pretty cool with that. But this is probably, like, when I was reading it for the first time, that was probably when I realized that Windblade, that there's something different about her. She has something that others don't, and I kind of liked that. I almost got a sense that she's, like, almost in a sense, like you said, that she's, like, you know, Amidala. That she's got this royalty or something because of that, because of what she can do or whatever.
I think the crown gives it away.
Yeah. I didn't think of that as a crown, but now I do.
Starscream will end up stealing that.
He would look fabulous.
She's like on a diplomatic mission there or something, right? Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should start with your home planet of Alderaan.
Yeah.
Oh, good times, good times. Okay, so we flip to page 3, and Windblade has an appointment with Starscream later that day, and she's listening to Metroplex when he just decides to barge in unannounced with Rat Trap in tow. But Windblade rolls with it because, you know, she recognizes that Starscream is the leader here, and he goes where he wants.
Starscream doesn't follow the rules. As long as he's not getting his, you know, his throat cut, he'll do whatever he wants.
Starscream's gonna make his own rules whether he's the leader or not, so it's not like it really matters that he's in charge. I will say, because I haven't had a chance to say this on any other show to this point, I hate his new body.
Oh, the Armada body. Yeah.
Absolutely hate it. I would have preferred them going either Prime or animated or something other than Armada.
I'd like it.
It does cross major wires in my brain, having him wandering around in an Armada body. And I'm like, I can't take you seriously anymore, dude.
Actually, this is the first time that after they've changed his body, that I actually started to like it. There's something about the way that Sarah draws him that makes me go, you know, I actually kind of like it now. I don't know why.
I would agree with what you just said, Amy, though, because she actually can pull it off. But up until this point, I've just been like, oh my gosh. And I blame that one cover where he's just being emo.
Like, which one? Isn't he emo in all of them?
Well, no, it was the cover where he's just like kneeling in the full, like, why pose.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just like, dude, you just like jumped the shark of emo Starscreamness. And then he spent all of Dark Cybertron just moping around being like, anyways, this is not about Dark Cybertron, and this is not about Starscream.
It's always about Starscream, honey.
Yeah.
Whether you know it or not, it's always about Starscream.
And he would say that too. It's always about him.
He genuinely would.
So this is about as far as what we got for the comic being teased a few weeks ago until today when we got actually 5 pages teased. But I just thought I'd just plug that in here real quick because, like, you know, the internet does this amazing thing of, you know, teasing stuff beforehand. And Newsarama usually is always attached to it.
Oh, yes.
Starscream dismisses them, and then Windblade gives him the respectful acknowledgement that he's due, and he throws it in her face. She's like, how may Metroplex serve you, and those you serve in turn? Such a gracious sentiment, and yet one I might question its sincerity. and one might question its sincerity. And then they go into the problem as they fix some of the problems, but that's not enough for him. They are still getting blackouts, and Starscream is questioning her ability, as well as putting her as the scapegoat for things that can go wrong with the other Cybertronians of the planet. Yeah. And he's really just playing off everything that he can and manipulating. And then the real clincher.
That's what he does best.
Exactly. It's like finally he's no more, he's stopping the mopey Starscream, and he's like back in his game.
Okay, you know what? Transformers are kind of like humans. They all have their emo stage. Prime's done it how many times?
He's done it a lot.
Bumblebee's done it. It's not just the Decepticons or Starscream. They've all gone through it. I mean, look at poor Thundercracker. There's no within him right now. Okay.
Yeah. It's like they have to go through their emo stage before they can actually be awesome again, right?
It's their teenage angst stage, you know? I think it's like around year 5000 where they have their teenage angst.
So you're saying he's put away his Linkin Park albums and is going to actually be a ruler now?
Yeah, so he put his Linkin Park stuff away and he just pretty much went into Slipknot.
Or he could have backtracked. He could have dropped the Linkin Park and gone to Marky Mark. Now, I will say on this page where he throws that in her face, even though I just said that I hate the Armada body, mm-hmm. I don't mind it when it's colored in black at the very bottom when he says, "Then do it." I like that look for him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... Can I, squeeble about some art on this page?
Give me one more minute. So, the real clincher, and this is the whole point of this issue, or this page, because I really, really liked this. The whole conversation, he has this sinister whisper. The most sinister whisper I think I've seen in Transformers comics ever.
Yeah.
That whisper is loaded with the most manipulative twist ever. If you're trying to undermine me with this string of inconveniences, remember, every day they persist is one I'll spend reminding the people of Cybertron who the real problem is.
Yeah.
I was totally sold on this book after reading that panel. Completely sold on it. I was like, yes, we have Starscream being Starscream.
I love it.
And she tells them that they aren't the enemy, that they are honestly trying to help them. But he turns on his heel and leaves, telling them to then do it. Yeah. Anybody have any more comments about Starscream?
Yeah, this page was good. I wanted to say, though, that Windblade is not quite as, sort of helpless female as it might be easy to see her as, because the way she greets Starscream, how may Metroplex serve you and those you serve in turn? I love that subtle interplay where she's reminding him that he's supposed to be responsible, and that's why she's helping him. And then, he throws back the whole, oh yeah, such a gracious sentiment thing, but that's really good writing, and yeah, good stuff.
Completely agree with you there. Yeah.
The blue panel. I love the blue panel. Because it's like, some of the other artists that do a lot of just kind of black, but it's blue, and it's so cool, and I love it.
Awesome.
Anyways, yeah, there's lots of fun stuff on this page.
Completely agree. Just on what you said, though, Starscream, she's reminding him of that. He doesn't really like that. But I also think that he's kind of a little bit in a tiff because he's not the one able to talk with Metroplex. I kind of imagine that they've had this conversation where he's like, oh, I'll talk to him. And she's like, no, you won't. And he's like, no, really, seriously, I'm the leader here. I talk to everybody. And she's like, you can't speak his language. I can just imagine him being like,
that's actually,
woman. Yeah.
That's actually a really interesting come down for him that I just clued into. Because remember the last time a Titan came, the Titan was all, you're the chosen one. And now he shows up and only Windblade can talk to Metroplex.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like, yeah, you're not always the Uber dude.
Maybe Metroplex is just an introvert. To
Yeah.
the point where he could only speak to one person. He gets a little shy, a little quiet,
Maybe he's sparkly, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Glitter makes everything better. Just saying. I dare anybody to prove me wrong.
Argument for me, man.
I'm just gonna dump a pile of glitter on you, and then we'll see what happens.
Yay! I sparkle! Now I'm not going to make a My Little Pony reference here at all. Absolutely not.
Well, it is after Twilight.
Oh my gosh.
But okay. I am also loving this Starscream. I just feel so bad for Windblade. She's honestly there to do a job, and she's like, I'm not playing this whole manipulative game. This is what I've been, born to do. And she's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. So she can't get Metroplex. She can't get Metroplex to work any faster, but because she's his voice. But at the same time, Starscream wants her to move mountains and questions her eagerness to please. And I'm sure that if he could, he would take her place. So she just can't win with him. Oh, good times. Okay, so
Love him.
what was that?
I love this Starscream. Love him.
Yeah.
So as Starscream and Rat Trap leave, Chromia isn't very fond of him, and now we know why, because he's kind of a jerk. And Windblade is looking a little bit frustrated and disappointed in the fact that they continue to have issues, and she can kind of see where Starscream is coming from because she's being a diplomat. She throws herself into her work to find out why they're having these blackouts, and Metroplex is losing power, and we have to find out why. So all the while having this internal dialogue in the comic that pretty much supports that she gets Starscream, even though the most vicious king loves his own country, and even the most mild king viciously defends his home. And that's what she keeps telling herself, to get rid of her worry and her fear, to keep that all in check. Starscream is just looking out for his people, his world, and what he cares about. So they are the visitors there, and possibly as soon as they get Metroplex back in tip-top shape, we'll see if, of course they're going to be staying. I mean, we hope so.
Why is Rat Trap a Decepticon?
I don't. He's a
not
nail
a
at this
Decepticon.
point.
Again, that's where you go back to Dark Cybertron. He's not really a Decepticon. When the place is split, they basically either had to follow Starscream or be kicked out of the city. Rat Trap, being Rat Trap, didn't want to be out on his own, so he went to Starscream's side. And hey, if you're going to be on that side, you might as well try to get your way to the top so you don't get stepped on.
Yeah.
That's basically Rat Trap, and that's how he is. So he's not really a Decepticon. He's just a survivor of his own will,
I also noticed that Starscream is not wearing a badge, and neither is Rat Trap.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. I don't know. I have a whole issue with, and I'm probably pulling an ender out of my butt here, but
It's okay.
I have a whole issue here with bringing in the Beast Wars characters just because, hey, let's do Generations toys of Waspinator and Rat Trap. On the same note, I'm going to be completely hypocritical and say, finally, we get a real Tankor toy, though.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I don't know. When I heard that Waspinator and Rat Trap were going to come, I'm like, how does that work? What? I'm just not that big of a fan of it.
That's kind of something that they've been building since the beginning when they brought everybody back. So,
well, in Waspinator, he did play a part, for a while.
His tail was the key.
Yeah. I know it's a small part, but they built up to it, and someone had him against a big part, He pretty much.
So basically, what you're saying is size does matter.
Well, if you gotta find the right keyhole, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I actually have a serious thing to say that is not inappropriate at all.
Go for it.
I didn't mean that inappropriate. You guys are.
Us and our dirty minds.
But I'm actually thinking, and especially now that they're starting to imply with this issue that the reason they're females because they were just in a different place and they evolved differently. And I just had assumed that the Beast Wars characters had been on like another planet and evolved that way. And so, you know, especially when all the males were coming back in RID and you had all these wacky looking guys, I just assumed that this was like the wide expanse of different ways in which Transformers could evolve if they were separated from, you know, the home planet. So I'm sort of if I sort of tell myself that that's why the Beast Wars guys have shown up, then I can at least make it make sense. But I'm sort of on your team, Mike, about not being a big fan of it because they seem so out of place. And like, hey, look, guys, we brought in these characters. You love them. I'm like, I know I love them, but I didn't necessarily need them to be in here.
See, I guess it doesn't bother me. I don't know what, I don't know. I just, like you said, I accepted it. I guess I've just been around too long to really make it bother me. Mm-hmm. And of course, if it wasn't for having the Beast Wars characters in or any Beastie characters, we wouldn't have Skybite.
True.
But who doesn't like Skybite?
Yeah, that is true. But see, here's the thing. I'm coming from the point of Death of Optimus Prime was my intro to IDW. Mm-hmm. And then I branched off to More Than Meets the Eye, and I eventually, reluctantly, through Ender twisting my arm, you know, took on Robots in Disguise. And I see this as IDW's G1 continuity. Not saying that this has to be solely in constant the G1 universe, but it just doesn't make sense to me because the Beast Wars characters time traveled. Mm. At least that's what I know from watching the show. Now, if IDW wanted to do, like, in order to promote the Hasbro toys, if they wanted to do a Rat Trap one-shot or a Waspinator one-shot, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. But I just find it so weird that they are now in the IDW continuity. It doesn't make me dislike the stories anymore. It's just strange to me that they're here.
Yeah. See, like I said, it doesn't bother me.
I think that everybody's opinion just kind of represents different people that are in the fandom, because I'm sure that there are other people out there. Because I agree with Nicole. I'm one of those people that, because the story has made it make sense, I've just kind of embraced it, and now it just feels like it's right. You know, we have those characters there. But that's not everybody's opinion of that. I mean, I'm sure there are some out there that are like, wait, Beast Wars with the G1 characters? What's going on here? And I can get that.
But people also feel the same way about the Dinobots as well.
True.
What are dinosaurs doing on Cybertron? You know, I'm to the point where
everybody's a critic.
Screw it, I just accept it. You know, because Transformers are like humans. Everyone wants to be different. You know, eventually everyone's so different that they're the same. You know,
when I kind of look at them as they're all individual characters, they might be based off of what they kind of were in their, you know, respective series, but they've made them make sense, at least to me, to a point, in where they're at right now. So, but I'm sure there are still people out there, you know, like Mike, that are having a hard time grasping and going, wait a second, it just doesn't work. And I can understand that.
Just be happy that you got Rat Trap and not Nightwing.
Wait, what? Leave Dick Grayson out of this. You mean Night Scream.
Night Scream, yeah.
Not Nightwing. Come on now. Leave Dick Grayson alone. They already tried killing him off.
I was going to say, what's the Darkwing Duck have to do with this?
It's kind of like, it took me the longest time to get Windblade off my tongue, because for the longest time it was Wingblade. Okay. You guys.
Okay. We got to keep going, because if not, this is going to be the longest podcast ever. So, so we turn to page 6, which is probably one of my favorites for 2 reasons. 1, it shows the vast knowledge and the inner workings of Metroplex, and 2, the awe that is in Windblade's face. It's just where her youth and innocence really comes out, and I really like that. She's just as fascinated by Metroplex as anyone else is. It's like her secret garden in a sense, and that she can only decipher, and yet, you know, you quickly understand that even though she understands his language, he's still really hard to talk to, all in one page. So she says,
So he's kind of like speaking to the Scottish. I was just kidding. I love my Scottish friends, but sometimes they're hard to understand because their accents are thick.
I hope we don't get too much hate for that.
Send all your hate mail to me and I'll just show you some love.
I'm just waiting for the Bruce Springsteen song to start playing. Secret Garden. It's like Metroplex is a very silent Jerry Maguire and she's Dorothy.
I didn't mean to make that one, but yeah, there you go, references. So she says, speaking to a Titan is always difficult. To an injured one, even more so. Their thoughts are vast and they speak in webs of light that even the best city speaker struggles to fully understand. To have something so glorious hear you and try so hard to answer is sacred. So, Windblade on this page deciphers his words and he recognizes her voice as troubled. He's diverting energon drainage to Sector 4 while also seemingly he's reviewing poetry, which I kind of liked. And then there's also an alert where he acknowledges like that he's still hurt and all that. But it's this diversion of energy that she catches onto, and she's like, the city is dark in places, Metroplex. You're losing power. What's happening? Why are you dark? And it turns out he's diverting power, but he doesn't give why, and she finds out where it is, and now they just have to go figure it out, which is it's in junction T134, T135, T136, that area. So yeah. I have to stop here though, because this was a really good point to talk about the art, because I really loved this page. So what you guys think of the art on this page? Because I love it. Yeah.
I think it's really interesting how instead of certain comics will just like where he says, because I assume this is him talking, wind voice troubled. That's him talking. Normally some comics, not IDW but other publishers, they'll have parentheses around, like next to that line saying translated from city speak, or I'm glad that she is the conduit between him and everybody else as far as us the readers being able to see what he says to her, that they don't need that notation. The art itself is amazing. I mean, Sarah is doing amazing. I mean, it's only her first issue. She's pretty much knocked it out of the park.
Oh yeah, higher than any expectations that I've ever had at this point. And I have pretty high expectations. I've been reading Alex Milne for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yes, I will squee. I just thought I wouldn't jump in first this time because, I talk a lot. Okay, this was my favorite page in the entire Blinking comic. And, first of all, it's beautiful. Second of all, it's incredibly well written. And third, it actually allows Metroplex to be a person. And I have wanted that so badly in this whole recent run of IDW, where the Titans are just, on the one hand, like they're treated as these like semi-sacred progenitor types, like nobody really even knows what they are, but they know that they're really special. I mean, I'm thinking of the time when Rodimus was like, well, this is either a great idea or really, really sacrilegious, and we're gonna go fly inside of the dead Titans. But just, yet at the same time, they're just being systematically butchered. And I'm like, what the heck, guys? And so I'm still, waiting on some more information on that. But this is like the first time when we see Metroplex as a person. And with this one page, like, I love him now. And it's this incredibly powerful yet really almost childlike way of being, where he's just, in his little ADD way, just, got all this stuff going, and yet they're all like really simple and kind in a way, like the way he interacts with Windblade. And oh gosh, I loved it. And even like in the art, how it's not just little captions, but there's little flashes of symbols that go along with each one. And yeah, Blinken love this page.
They did
Maybe
a
the
fantastic
symbols-
job.
Maybe the symbols are the Cybertronian text.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm assuming that it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
I just-
agree with everyone else. This was beautiful. To me, this is kind of like us staring into a private moment of a couple, during the story. And it's not saying that these two are romantically connected, but they
Yeah,
have.
I was going to say fan fiction. Hello.
No,
We're
they
going to get some
have-
flash over this.
But they have a certain connection that a lot of other, let's say, Transformers wouldn't understand, because there's not a whole lot of city speakers that we've heard of. And so, just like Starscream, he's upset that he can't talk to him. So there's this unique relationship, and we're staring in on it. And it's kind of like, wow, we're getting this first glimpse. It's kind of like seeing a species for the first time. You're getting a first view of this new budding relationship. Well, budding for us, and it's just really amazing to look at. And the coloring, yeah, Sarah's done an amazing job. Just one page, and you're just like, wow, this is great. So, yeah, it's a real, like Heather says, it's probably my favorite page of the episode. Issue. I have issues.
Yes, we know.
And that's why we love you.
Exactly.
I will say that normally when I read comics, it doesn't matter if it's Transformers or whatever it is. It could be Batgirl, could be Batman, Nightwing, whatever. I usually hear a voice actor's voice of the character in my head. And the only voice I know of Metroplex is in season 3, "My eyes! Somebody took my eyes!" I don't hear that here, and I haven't really decided what kind of voice he has in my head, but like Nicole was saying, I really do enjoy their connection. And that's one thing that Margaret does great, is she writes characters very, very well and very deep.
Yeah. I kind of envision him having this really booming voice, but very, kind of like Omega Supremes, but bigger. But he doesn't, he doesn't talk like Omega Supreme, obviously, but, which reminds me, dang, it's been a while since we've seen that guy. Anyhow,
he's out spelunking.
He's out spelunking. He's in the cave again. Aw, poor Omega Supreme.
He has to find the bats.
Like everybody's already
That's
mentioned.
Night Scream.
Oh
Yes, we bring in more beasts.
boy.
Oh, goodness.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
I apologize in advance, people.
It's okay. It's really great to see just how unique this vision is here on this page, because, so much is described in such an abstract way, but yet it fits so well and communicates everything that we need to know, and in so few panels. It's just really well told, and I'm going to mirror everything that everybody said here. The illustrative voice is really deep, and basically with few words, and all of the expression from Windblade, and that's good art, yo. That is good art. It communicates everything that we need, so this has got to be one of my favorite pages, so. Yeah. Okay, so we continue. The Ladybots have a job to do, and that's where they have to go. So, Windblade, she leaves and talks with Chromia before she leaves. But she hasn't mapped out all of Metroplex's inner workings in city form yet, so she's not quite sure where they're supposed to be going, but she knows where the junction is. But there's someone who would know where that junction is, and, Chromia's not so enthusiastic about going to see him. And, yeah, because he's so mopey. And it turns out that, and that's the new word, I will never, mopey is going to be in my vocabulary forever now. And it turns out this mopey person happens to be Ironhide.
I could not stop laughing when I got to this page.
Agreed. I was laughing too. Okay, so which, hey, Windblade, it was Chromia that said it, which Windblade teasingly tells Chromia that she's going to have to tell him that before flying off. It's just a really cute moment between the two.
Yeah, I felt like this whole page existed for people who love G1 and be like, yeah, you know what's going to happen. And I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, which is actually kind of fun. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, you just do that. That's cool.
I really liked the fact that that she's teasing. It's like, okay, they have this sister relationship, and Windblade is like the little sister that's giving a hard, just trying to tease her older sister, and she totally got her, because I see that in my two Recklets all the time. The younger one is always doing that to the older one every single time. She completely nails that relationship just in a panel. It's great.
See, and this is what's really, really odd about between the comparison of this issue and Dark Cybertron, because in Dark Cybertron I would have said that Windblade was the leader, the older, the wiser. And in this one, you do get that kind of role reversal.
Mm. And I'll also add to this, on this page, when they do this, when Sarah does the silhouettes of the two, it looks like Chromia is the older sister and Windblade is the younger sister. But yet the next panel, Windblade looks like she's taller than Chromia, and Chromia looks like she's younger.
Oh, that's because she, I mean, if you look at it psychologically here, she just bested her.
No, that's true.
And it's, she's walking away from her, so the perspective would be behind her. But yeah, it's still, I still like that. I like the fact that for the most part, Chromia does tend to stand taller than Windblade. And so that only reinforces the older sister, younger sister kind of vibe that I'm getting from those two. So we flip the page and we get this beautiful 2-page spread as Windblade flies off to find Ironhide. Meanwhile, she explains that it could be something simple, causing these blackouts, but they can't leave it because, it may be a sign of something worse, and they can't leave it or else it could kill him. But she finds Ironhide, who's pretty much wandering around in Metroplex's depths. And she asks him about the junction, T-134, and that she thinks that some power regulators there might be damaged. And he gives her a rough idea where it is, and he also says that it didn't appear to be damaged last time he was in that area, but he was there. He hasn't been there for a while. So, and then she asks about Starscream, and he tells her that it would be best if she asks his friends and not his enemies, because during the war they were on opposite sides. And that was very good of Ironhide to do that. Makes sense because he's always been kind of that guy. And so Windblade radios Chromia to meet her at the Acrolite district, where that's where she's headed, because that's where they're going. So Ironhide, Mr. Mopey, he used to be so certain now, and now he's down in the gills. How does that work for you?
It works fine with me. I mean, he knows now what I can. He still he's seen the future. He knows what his life's about. So he has one of those things like, I don't care what happens. I can do whatever I want right now. Might as well take a stroll to where most people don't go. He seems like an older gentleman that just wants to be left alone. He's Clint Eastwood, okay? He just wants to be left alone and get people off his lawn,
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. So where's he gonna go? He's gonna go into the depths of Metroplex. No one's gonna be able to find him, but yet some ladies do. That sounds a little shady there.
Sounds like something Rat Trap would say. Now see, I had the complete opposite for his, the opposite analogy for his personality, because they said, but he's mopey. And then I saw him, and I heard a certain voice in my head, and it was like, that's my tail. It got lost. Thanks, Pooh Bear. He's basically Eeyore, is what he is.
He's having his EMO moment. Just like we were saying before, how Star...
No. He's not. No, Starscream was being emo.
Yeah.
Ironhide is not being emo. Ironhide is being very, very mopey and being very down on himself is what I saw in this. And that was the first thing I thought of in my head was like, oh my god, it's Peter Cullen as Ironhide / Eeyore.
Yeah, that does sound like a good read. I would agree with that. But,
Oh, go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, unless you want to say something. But,
No, go for it.
I will say this is my least favorite art. Because especially that first panel where you see Ironhide's face, he looks kind of creepy. Like there's something, I'm not a big fan of the way his mouth has been drawn. In those, especially those first two panels where it's like just kind of a slash that goes all the way across his entire jaw.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a little
I have to say that I wasn't, that was probably the only thing about this issue that I thought,
Yeah. Could have done better.
It kind of reminds me of the time, like when we first saw Brendan Cahill, and we weren't really a fan of how he did the mouths.
Yeah.
I mean, he's changed that since then, so I'm liking it now. But the first time we saw the stuff, it was like, I didn't care for it, and in this face, I don't care for it either. But I have to say that he does look very Iron Giant-ish to me. I just looked at it and went, oh, you know what? He kind of reminds me of the Iron Giant, which is kind of epic. So it, you know, just to add a little bit of the positive there. Yeah. So you were.
But what do you think? Because I should have actually gone back and looked at this. But the fact that he actually, instead of just saying, "Oh, Starscream's a punk and you don't want to have anything to do with him," the fact that he actually says you should go ask his friends, is that a major turn for him? Because, and he really seems just genuinely lost. I think he really has lost sight of that certainty that he used to have. And to the point that he's not even certain of his own opinion on Starscream.
I get the feeling, just because of everything that happened in Dark Cybertron, that his vision pretty much has been debunked.
Yeah.
Because Windblade is there. And I kind of get the feeling, we haven't gone into a whole lot of it because this is not his story, obviously it's Windblade's. But it's like he's having a moment of questioning his faith, in a sense. And that might make sense for him being down in the depths because he's trying to work it out himself. You know?
Yeah.
But he's also that character that's been like, you know, he was the dude that smacked Prowl in the face and said, you know, get a grip. So, you know, he's got his moments. He's got his moments, but I think you're right. We're 6 months later. He's taking his time to figure things out. And I kind of like that. It shows that he's not, for the character that was the one that was brought back to Cybertron to kick all of the Insecticons off of the planet so they could inhabit it again, you know, for being as tough as he is, he's got his moments, you know, and I kind of liked the idea that he's having a moment, that he can have this weakness instead of like always being the strength. So
I'm just a senior. Nobody pays attention to me.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna read Ironhide in Eeyore's voice from now on. Until he pulls out of this.
I will say that you guys are right about his mouth at the top part of the panels on that page, but at least the bottom part where he's frowning as she's walking away, it looks a little bit better.
Yeah, it does. Lots better. It's mostly just those first two panels that bug me. Everything else, he looks fine.
Yeah.
So Chromia Windblade, they meet up and start searching for this junction. And they crawl all over, and after some time, they finally find T127, but it's not 34. So that's when Chromia calls it quits.
Really quick question here.
Yes.
That last panel on that page where Windblade is like pulling herself, like, why don't you fly? She's a flying. You know?
Well, she can't extend her wings. It's like a little teeny manhole.
I was going to say, looks like she's crawling through a small hole or something. Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't know. I still think she should fly.
I always was like, so they're the maintenance bots that have to fix everything too. That's a big job for any two bots to have to do. I mean, you'd think that they'd have drones or something to help them. But yeah, that's when Chromia calls it quits. She's like, we'll start back up in the morning, and Windblade sort of resists, and Chromia tells her that it wasn't a request. It's time to call it a night, and we'll get right back on it tomorrow. So, reluctantly, Windblade says okay, and they split up with the plan to meet up in the morning around dawn. And Windblade is letting Starscream's words, like, eat at her, and when she asked Ironhide about him. And, what he said is kind of echoing in her thoughts. And so what do bots do when they get off work? It's chill. They go to McAdams' old oil house.
Yeah, but who's that mysterious bot following her?
I did not think about that. Huh.
Is he following her, or is she just walking through people on the street? Because in both panels, there's people on either side of her.
It could be.
Yeah, you could be right. I don't know. Amy put into my head the other day about some shadowy figure that's following her because of what comes later in the issue.
Yeah, and I didn't think about it until now, but you're right. The head kind of looks like that shadowy figure that we see later. Let's not spoil it yet, though. That's very interesting. I didn't think about that. Somebody could be following her already. Okay, so
because she's a sexy lady, and they've never seen one before. They're like,
they've got stalkers already.
It's a treat.
Stalked. Someone's watching you. So we go to McAdams, and Blur is in charge. Yay.
Yeah. I like what she says. I may not be from Cybertron, but some things are true on any planet. All of the best information, or wars, come from a bar. They wars start bars as well. At least according to James.
Yes. He has a very conflicted view about bars, that James.
Yes. Which is funny because all fans hang out in bars, and I've never seen a war happen yet. And that's where she finds herself, is at the bar with Swindle, Waspinator, Blur, and several versions of Tankor and Slug.
Now, as talking about this whole merchandising thing, there are several versions of Tankor in this, so I'm assuming we're going to get multiple repaints of the Generations Tankor toy. The other thing I noticed about this when Amy was talking about Swerve and Blur and bars, I'm like, oh my god, it's what was his name? It's Brian Flanagan with his Cocktails and Dreams. Oh, yeah, nothing like imagining. Of course, I don't know which one would be which, but either Blur or Swerve would be Tom Cruise from Cocktail. Yeah, that's a little strange.
Good times.
Do not insult Blur like that.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute
all,
here.
do not insult Swerve like that.
Now, wait a minute here. Tom Cruise was fine in the 80s. Granted, past 97, he's gone a little nuts, but... Oh, God. Tom Cruise was the Charlie Sheen of the 80s. Oh, my God. Anyway. Continue, Amy. Sorry.
I just love the fact that every one of the bots has a running definition of who they are. Just like we saw in More Than Meets the Eye with Ultra Magnus, Troublemaker, Don't Trust, yada yada. Windblade's definitions. Tall Tankor and Fat Tankor, but not to his face. I love that. Blur, fast everything. Fizzle, constant reminds everyone he was on the Lost Light. Slug, default grumpy. I loved that. I was like, oh. Swindle, currently lying.
God, how happy was I to see the bottom three people here.
Oh, yeah. Waspinator, sweet but dim. And Skybite, just roll with it. Just roll with it.
I was so
Which is
happy.
like everybody's explanation of Skybite, right?
He's the greatest shark around. Didn't you know that?
Absolutely. Who spouts poetry. Wahaha. But this is every fan at a convention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every single time that, and other podcasts have pointed it out before. McAdams' old oil house. It's great to see that they have a place where everyone knows your name. Wahaha.
You stole my line, damn it.
Hey, there's 4 people on this podcast. It's likely to happen.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if everybody knows their name, who would be Sam, who would be Cliff, who would be Norm. Out of the females, who would be Diane, Carla, and Rebecca?
Good
It looks like right now Norm would be Fizzle.
I have to say the reason why Slug is here has gotta be because of Beast Hunters.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Which is brilliant, and I'm completely cool with that because, like, if Margaret gets a hold of him and gives him a personality, like, he already's got a little bit of one, but if she just dives in and just gives him more, I would be so happy.
There will be joy. Yeah, so dork confession, I totally thought he was Knockout when I very first glanced at it. I was like, Knockout! And then I was a little sad.
He's rocking that vibe a little bit, to be honest.
Really is.
Rocking it. Just a little bit. I could totally see
Knockout.
it.
Can the comic book world handle Knockout right now?
I honestly thought back on the page where Chromia and Windblade were in shadow, and you see Chromia's little red things on her, because she's in shadows, you see her red outlines on her arms. I thought that was Knockout at first. I'm like, wow.
Well, we know which butts on everyone's brain.
Yeah, a little bit of Knockout. Just a little bit.
He would like that, I think.
He would love that. Yeah, good times. Okay, so Blur welcomes her and gives her a free drink before starting to ask her for storage favor before being interrupted by Slug about having a regular conversation. So he asks her what she'd like, and she points to what Slug is drinking and says, hey, I'll have that. And that's when the war stories start. But it takes about 3 glasses until she's able to ask what she really wants to ask about, which is Starscream. The floodgates open in all the wrong ways, on both bot and con alike, and by the end of the night, she's got a load of intel on him. Every bot hates him, every bot fears him, and one thing it becomes desperately clear. Starscream cares for nothing and no one but himself. Oh, that ain't the half of it. He even kills his closest friends, my dear. Poor Windblade.
Mm-hmm. Is anybody getting a breakdown vibe off the bot in the middle of this panel? From Prime. The blue guy with the red face.
Oh, Fizzle? No, because he's too thin to be breakdown. Oh,
no,
wait.
I mean, just in his face.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. Just a little bit. This is where it kind of felt very much like some of the characteristics of the characters are taking on a lot of the Prime aesthetic, which I'm not opposed to.
No, not at all.
It totally works, but it felt very... I was like, oh, I can almost see Prime characters in these designs.
Yeah, you can. The expressions on both of these pages are like some of the best in the entire book. I mean, oh gosh, I love these pages.
I just love Windblades. I mean, look at her where she's like, her eyes are all bugging out. She's like, Starscream cares for nothing and no one but himself.
Yeah. She's like, just like, well,
burst her bubble.
Now look at the panel next to that. Look at the panel next to that on the same page where Blur asks her if she found out about anything about him.
Yeah.
Look at Blur, everybody. It's animated Blur.
Oh yeah,
it is. He looks very animated there, yeah.
Oh, and did everybody enjoy Blur messing up her name, just like we all mess up her name?
Yes.
That was fun.
Exactly.
That was fantastic. I was like, oh, yeah, there you go. Every fan has done it. It's just like the same thing where everybody was like, Optimus Prime, Orion Pax. And Slug, not Slag.
That still ticks me off. I'm sorry. I will not get over that.
I'm like,
Nor should you.
I'll never forgive the Brits for ruining it for us.
Oh.
Curse you, shake fist.
Honestly, I really care not. With Slug? No, he wouldn't. He'd be like, it's Slag. Get a grip, man. Get a grip. It's my name. Don't wear it out. So in the morning before dawn, she's waiting for Chromia, who is surprised that she's ready to go before dawn. But she'll go with it, and Windblade is less than her optimistic and driven self. And Chromia's like, hey, what's wrong? It's nothing, I'll tell you later. No? Really, what's wrong? Chromia not here. And as they're having this little back and forth, with many other bots walking around them, this little click goes off. And we turn the page, and everything goes fatoosh! Chromia and Windblade are slammed against the wall and dropped to the ground in all the wrong ways. Chromia's first priority is that Windblade as her protector. You know, she's like, hey, first priority is Windblade because she's the protector. Whereas Windblade only wants to help those around her, even though she's been pretty badly wounded. But while Chromia is trying to pull her away, Windblade passes out, and it looks not so good for our main character. So I wanted to stop here, again, because the previous Metroplex brain conversation earlier in the comic. We have another situation where the illustrative powers of Sarah Stone come to bear, and we get these explosion pages and the aftermath, and it needs to be discussed and commented upon.
Okay, before we get to the explosion...
Okay, go for it.
Before we get to the explosion... So, briefly going back to the spoiler-filled events that concluded Dark Cybertron. Mm-hmm. After seeing this top panel on this page, I'm not so sure that was Shockwave, because there's some sort of Shockwave clone in the background following Windblade in this panel. Top. I
thought you said earlier that you thought it was Whirl.
Yeah, Whirl, Shockwave, they're all one eye, one hand. It could be either one, even though Whirl's on the Lost Light. But yeah, I mean, I know it's probably just someone passing by, but like twice in this book, and again, it's all your fault, Amy, because I didn't notice it until you said something.
Conspiracy.
Yes, exactly. So there is that. But yeah, the super giant explosions and everybody go boom.
Yeah. These two pages here, the explosion and the aftermath, were just gorgeous. I was whoa, that is awesome. And the fact that they have a completely different tone, so she like colored them differently as well. Ugh.
These pages to me felt like, you know how sometimes you'll be watching a movie and they'll do this effect where the explosion will go off and all of a sudden all the sound drops out except for like maybe a buzz?
Like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what these pages felt like. And
that's what it felt like to me too.
Yeah, and it's accomplished by desaturating the color, and then there's that amazing panel with like where you're seeing it through Windblade's shattered optic.
Yeah.
And just, so good!
That was brilliant. And it still has other color in it because, like, it's all of the characters are washed out. Like, but in the background you have this red because, hey, it's an emergency. Bad things are going on right here. I mean, even the noise has a, you know, and it's got color. And so I like the fact that they washed out all the characters but kept, like, their eyes really blue and, like, the injury is all blue.
And Energon dripping everywhere. Bright, bright blue Energon.
Yep.
And they figured out a way to homage Optimus dying. Everybody goes gray except for their eyes.
She just passes out. She still has color.
No, I know. But, okay, Chromia's body is gray here outside of her eyes at that bottom part of the panel where she's holding Windblade.
Yeah, but so is Windblade. Like, she's kind of grayish. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just thought, hey, an homage to the death of Optimus Prime.
Which time?
And everybody caught that she picked up that little wire, right, as proof that it was a booby trap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that, but you're right. That's a good idea. I mean, I wondered why she picked that up, but I'm like, yeah. Ooh, that's a good point. She shall prove it.
Yes, she better.
She better, yeah. Investigative powers of Windblade. Woo! How about you, Nicole?
It's all just crap. I'm sick of it. No, these two pages were amazing. And I really did have, because you're just like, oh, they're having their little sisterly spout, you know, and then, because I picture these two, if they're not sisters or sisters in arms, they're very close, you know, they're doing what like sisters do, and when it comes down to trouble, they're always there for each other. No matter what happened the time, you know, just a few minutes before, they're gonna get through it together. And yeah, it's beautifully drawn. I like how on the last panel that Windblade just has a shade of red on her, saying she's still alive, but she's hanging on. So yeah, just barely. No, I think it's very beautifully done.
I have to say, I love the use of the fatouche word mixed up with the speed of the explosion and the artistic feel that Sarah is like representing here. It's like, it's doing it for me in all the right ways. It's like, thank you.
I like that. And I hope Sarah never learns about the choom. I'm so sick of seeing that one.
Oh,
but the fatouche I
fatouche.
like. No, the fatouche I like, yeah.
Yeah, awesome sauce. More fatouche. I like my fatouche.
And I
That sounds so wrong, Amy.
Exactly.
I'll tell Mike that next time I talk to him. Just be prepared,
I'll warn him. Be careful with the fatouche.
See, to me, fatouche sounds like, the shawarma at the end of Avengers. Like they have to go have shawarma and fatouche.
That's the drink
Something
that
that
comes
you
with
eat.
it.
Yes, that's the drink that comes.
Blair needs to offer fatouche at the bar.
Totally.
Shawarma and fatouche. It's on there. No, I love this color of blue that they're using. It's for the energon and their eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really distinctive.
Ultramarine. It's got to be ultramarine. Because I like ultramarine. Blah, blah.
And I'm like, I can tell you what marker it is.
Good times.
Nerd!
I am such an art nerd. It is.
Amy still has, 25 boxes of 64 Crayola crayons.
Crayons. Who needs crayons when you have colored markers?
I'm saying as far as when Crayola was doing the crayons, because they did the 64, all the crayons would say what the color was. That's what
I just remember my oil painting. When I had oil painting, I really love my ultramarine blue, but I'm not really a fan of the cobalt. Okay, all geeking out aside.
I'm sorry, nothing beats burnt sienna. Nothing. And Family Guy proved that too. So
Yellow ochre for the win.
I love that this has just evolved into art.
We're art snobbing right now.
Heck yeah. And I'm like, I can never get my ultramarine marker to fit into things because it's such a powerful blue. It doesn't mesh with all the other colors.
Let's not forget our crimson.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so in the aftermath of the explosion, Chromia saves me. That's what she says in the next page. And then helps the others. Three bots die from the explosion, but it couldn't have been more. I need surgery. I think of home. Starscream claims the blast was caused by poor maintenance. Ooh, slam it to the ladies, right? He urges the citizens of Metroplex to rebuild in the ruins of Iacon. No one does yet.
Well, Starscream's not going to blame not himself, so he's going to blame the last person that he spoke with, pretty much.
True.
It was him.
It was our bot.
That was totally something out of Transformers Prime, where he would totally do that. Is anybody else freaked out by the fact that Windblade is shackled to her little?
Yeah, I was wondering
thing?
why she was shackled.
Not okay.
They just want to make sure that
single.
she doesn't get up because she's that seriously injured, right?
I am really hoping so.
Either that or Starscream wants to add a dog collar to it.
Ooh. Or she's under investigation as being the one that did it on purpose, just for an added twist.
Well, I'm just like, all of the medics that I trust are not there.
Yeah, there's no Ratchet, there's no first aid, there's no one trusts Pharma, so
yeah, Pharma would be all about the shackles.
Pharma isn't there. I thought he was dead.
No, yeah, Pharma's not there. He's sucked into weird dimension. Where's Quintessence?
I trust Pharma for a good storyline.
Oh my God. The ghost of Pharma. Wait, ghosts can't travel through space.
It's happened before in Transformers.
It's happened before.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Windblade is in the Medibay, healing and dreaming in and out of home, which is Caminus. And we go to we're quickly wrapping up here, but our page 20 and 21, we go into our history lesson about this. Millions of years ago, Cybertron was not a lone planet, but a grand empire. Enormous living ships like Caminus carried not only crews and energon, but their own hotspots. Those miracles of faith and energy from which all Transformers are born. From these things, and from himself, Caminus forged our world, and through time and chance we lost touch with our brethren. Camians believed that we would never see Cybertron again. We changed, we adapted, and all life goes on. But Camians like me grew up on stories of our ancient homeworld, Cybertron. When the Autobot Thunderclash asked for our help in healing a Titan, 3 of us were sent to accomplish the sacred feat, including me. I dreamt of the magnificence of this new awaiting giant. I dreamt of the happy reunion we'd have with our long-lost family. Most of all, I dreamt of the help Cybertron could give us. So while this narrative is going on, we are seeing basically the ship Caminus and how they rebuild. And when Thunderclash came to ask for their aid, and how they found Metroplex underwater, barely alive, and a panel or two of Dark Cybertron and the aftermath of that event, leaving Iacon ruined. And it goes on to say, Cybertron, its vast knowledge and wealth turned once again to our struggling little homeworld where every action is measured and weighted against our own survival. I dreamt of the freedom to come. I'm not dreaming anymore. And she's recalling the explosion that came in and pretty much decimated her dream. And then the final panel where she recalls seeing that one bot in the background that actually is lifted right out of page 26, first panel, right off of Chromia's right elbow. Brilliantly subtle. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Oh, I totally didn't. Wait, are you saying Rat Trap is...
No.
Wait, where?
Wait,
Okay.
page
Where are you
26?
looking?
You go to page 26, which is, let's see, from this page where you see the last little one, and she's like, I'm not dreaming anymore. You go back 1, 2, 3, 4,
So the
5.
page with the ship.
So the page where it says the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see Chromia's, she's standing there right on the left side.
Yep.
Now look right below.
Oh my gosh!
See? It's the same figure that's on the
No
5 pages after.
way.
Yes, way. Is
That's
that not subtle?
Awesome. Wow.
I
good
just
paying
had the
attention.
goosebumps there. I went, oh, oh, oh. So the whole idea that somebody might actually be following her when she tries to go to McAdams, when she goes, not when she tries to, she goes there, where you were pointing out that there's another figure that looks like that head shape.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. There might have been somebody following her even sooner than that, which would make sense because she goes in there and asks questions, and she's asking too many questions.
See, I think I don't know. We'll have to find out once issue 2 comes up. But I think Starscream, because he doesn't trust her, would have sent someone after her. So after that beginning part of this issue with the 2 of them, and she goes off with Chromia, I think Starscream told one of his cronies, hey, go keep an eye on these 2. Or go keep an eye on her. And, you know, that's where it comes from.
But that is Rat Trap, you guys. That's totally Rat Trap.
It doesn't look like Rat Trap.
It's full on Rat Trap. It's his back
the one
view.
that says, I'm not
it's his
dreaming
back
anymore?
view, but those are his little folded legs, and that's his head, and he's sort of turning back to look at you. It's Rat Trap.
Oh.
Yeah. Because the last page, you know, well, look who isn't dead.
Yeah,
because
I haven't gotten there yet.
I mean, how many times have we seen Rat Trap, you know, use his belly bombs to blow things up, you know, giant transwarp ships and everything else. So, yeah, I can so believe that it is Rat Trap following her.
Nice. I didn't think it was Rat Trap, but hey, theories. Okay, so our last page. Starscream tried to kill me. He risked Metroplex to do it. And if he tried it once, he will try again. As she's waking up in the Medibay, and who's there to greet her? None other than the illustrious leader himself, Starscream. Well, look who isn't dead.
Can I tell you how much?
To be continued.
I love this view of Starscream.
I know.
This little piece of art right here tells you all you ever need to know about Starscream. He's like the high school bully, chilling out against the high school wall. All he needs is to have like a cigarette in his hand, and and like a leather jacket or whatever. This just shows everything.
Starting to click his fingers, like the phones.
Yeah,
He looks like he's checking his nails right now.
yeah, it's just like
he totally is.
I
like a
love it.
villain.
I love it. I love this panel of Starscream. Love it.
Yeah. So that's the issue. Thoughts, impressions? What would you like to see more of?
I have a thought.
I'm just interested to see more. You can go ahead and go, Heather.
That's right. Well, I wanted to say, because I Googled Caminus because I figured it was something, and it is. So, it is, from the ancient Greek, and you know how it talks about how, he carries, a hotspot with him, and he built the planet out of the hotspot spark stuff and himself. Well, Caminus means a furnace or a forge, and it's actually Vulcan's forge. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I'm like, well played, Margaret.
Is that where we're going to get her cool swords from?
Maybe.
Oh.
That's cool. That's cool.
I just want to congratulate both Heather and Amy for saying Caminus, because for the longest time when I was reading this, I was saying cannabis.
No, we're not going to get high here.
That's what happened. I think I probably was high when I was reading it the first time.
Your brain was doing one of those, what was it, a Freudian slip?
Yeah.
Except it was for drugs because you're on them a lot.
So instead of the chameleons, they were the cannabians, That's awesome.
Good times. Good times.
Yep.
Nicole representing the drug half of us.
Yep. I am close to Colorado.
Hey, I'm close to Mexico.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure Utah has its own drugs.
We're the
How's
best
that,
capital
baby?
of the world. Come on.
Yeah. I like this theory that it might that it's Rat Trap that's done it. I didn't even think that it was Rat Trap because I thought, oh, he wouldn't get his hands dirty, would he?
Oh, yes, he would.
Are you kidding me? He wouldn't get his hand. Come on, Amy.
He doesn't have hands. He's got paws.
His hands
That's
are-
It's been a while since I've listened to Beast Wars. I should probably go watch it again.
It's been a while since I've watched it too.
We're all gonna die.
No, everyone else is going to die instead of you.
That's right. It's like, I'm not gonna die. You all are gonna die.
Well, of course, the thing is, he's got the perfect setup. He could go and do all this horrible stuff, and he's got Starscream to vouch for him,
True.
And he's
As
also
long-
always trying to undercut Starscream too, so he's playing both ends.
But even Starscream in Dark Cybertron had pretty much warned him, you can't out Starscream.
Yeah.
me."
He was
No matter
just like,
how
let me
hard
show
you
you how it's
try.
done.
No matter how hard you try, you can't out Starscream me, man.
And hopefully he's taken that to heart, and he's like, you know what? Then if I can't out Starscream you, then I'd rather have you on my side.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So did anybody read the little thing at the end? The little note?
I did.
Yeah.
It made me very happy because I was there.
Oh yeah, where she talked about the BotCon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like going, woo, woo, woo. Doing my fist pump on that one.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was
It was
fantastic. And for any listener that is out there that's wondering what we're talking about, basically, BotCon last year, BotCon 2013, Margaret was in the midst of finishing up Rage of the Dinobots, and was in the middle of Beast Hunters, and she wanted to see how many females were at BotCon. So she did this call and said, all females go to the Hasbro booth. So we all went to the Hasbro booth, and she took pictures, and we roared, and we said, transform and roll out, and we did all of these. It was great. It was fantastic. We took pictures. We smothered the internet with them, and it was really awesome. And we proved just how many mighty women are in Transformers just by that one afternoon.
it was just cool because it felt like we could, I remember I was just saying, yes, I want to see more female Transformers, but I want them to be done good or not at all. And I felt like I was able to, say that and be heard.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just such a neat feeling of just power that you normally don't have. And so thank you, Margaret, for organizing that. It was cool.
Oh, I wish it could be so good fun.
My question is with her writing this letter in what is essentially the spot for the letters page in any comic, I wonder how many replies or questions she's going to get in the issue 2 copy to see what that letter's. Because when I read the letter, I'm like, shouldn't this be at the beginning of the book? But I kind of got it why they placed it at the end.
Well, I think James has also done the same thing in More Than Meets the Eye, and he put it at the end as well. So
yeah.
But then I'm also thinking about all the times that John wrote stuff like in Sector 7 when he first came on Transformers, and he did the same thing where they had letter kind of notes at the very end where he put all of his notes and stuff like that. And that was also at the end too. So I think it's just something that Transformers Comics does. They put stuff at the end rather at the beginning.
Oh yeah, completely. It didn't bother me. It was just kind of one of those things where I expected it to be an ad or something else, and we do get a full page spread ad for Dawn of the Autobots, and then after that we get the teaser for number 2. Cybertron under fire. Someone is out to kill Windblade, but discovering who means turning to some less than savory bots. Can Windblade trust her informants enough to stake her life on them? I love Margaret's writing. I've been reading her since Rage of the Dinobots, so anything she does, I will enjoy the story, absolutely. And Sarah, as an artist, this is the first time I've seen anything from her. I know she's been doing stuff before this. I listened to the interview, and, I love it. I think it's great. There's nothing in the art here that I didn't like.
Cool. Anybody else?
Yep, I'm ready for the second issue, so let's go.
Yeah, bring it on.
Okay, so I wanted to bring this up because I thought, hey, yeah, more fembots in the universe. We're really excited about this. But we didn't get this long, drawn-out explanation. I've read a lot of fans that feel that there needs to be this long, drawn-out explanation why she exists. What are your opinions on that?
We're going to get it. We are going to get it. It's been thrown in our face, Dark Cybertron, a couple times. It's kind of been thrown in this issue as well. We're going to get the explanation. People need to be patient, okay? It's not going to be a whole issue. It's probably going to be a page. Or maybe, yeah, I'll say probably that's going to be it. It's going to be a page explanation. People just got to accept it.
Yeah, I think you're right, Nicole. It'll be a page almost exactly like the one that gives the world building about where they came from. And
Caminus, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it just doesn't need to. Sure, if Margaret wants to put it in, great. But I'm coming from the point where, as a kid, I knew RC, I knew Chromia, I knew Firestar, I knew Moonracer, I knew there were female Autobots. So, I get in the IDW continuity, RC, she was artificially made and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, who cares? It doesn't really matter to me.
But see, that's the thing. It doesn't matter to you. But this is one of those questions that has been going on through the Transformers community for way too long. And someone's going to give them an answer. And we're going to have an answer. And then there's going to be the other argument that people don't like the explanation. So,
right. And I get that.
No matter what you do or what you say, Transformers fans are you're not going to satisfy all of them.
Well, that's the same with any comic or fandom. All as I'm saying is, I personally, reading this story, do not need an explanation of why she is female.
I think we need one because they've played it for too long now. They've given too many hints. Now, if they wouldn't have said any hints, like in Dark Cybertron, they said she, and then, like I said, they teased it in this one. If they wouldn't have teased it, I would say, I don't care. But they've teased it so much, they have to give one now.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Yeah. Like
I
said, it's
honestly
not
kind of think
drawn
that they sort of kind of did. They just said that they left a long time ago and she was born on Caminus. And I guess I'm wondering if we even get it. Does it need it? Does it warrant it? I'm like, well, I guess you can. Will we get it here in this series? I'm honestly fine if we don't. I'm fine if they just leave it up to a longer explanation elsewhere.
Where else would they put it though, Amy? I mean, they really need to put it in this particular series because it's the series about the girls.
Mm.
Me personally, if they don't put the explanation into, I would say issue 2, but at least in this series somewhere, I'll be mad. I'll feel like, nah, you guys were cheating. Don't string us along. Be like, oh, it's a thing, and we're not going to tell you. You got to tell, and it's got to be in this series.
I want it to make sense for the story, so that's why I'm like kind of like I don't want to sacrifice like a long explanation for
just
something that needs to be. Yeah. Okay.
No, I said they're not.
I think it's really good to point that out because I think you're right. I think there are going to be some people that will feel that way, Heather, that will feel disappointed, and so that's kind of why I brought it up because I thought, well, it's something that we should probably discuss a little bit about.
I did feel like that page was a little awkward. The page where Rat Trap's talking to Chromia and like, so what's with the she thing? And then they don't address it. I'm like, just don't even bring it up if you're not going to address it anymore. Cause it's been brought up and brought up and brought up and brought up. And I'm like, no, I'm done. Just don't jerk my chain about it anymore.
Yeah, because Chromia got upset with someone in Dark Cybertron when they brought it up.
Yeah, like Ratchet asked, and she was like, no, not gonna say
Ratchet. Yeah, it's like, I forgot who asked.
Maybe it's that they don't even recognize that they're different from all the dudes. And so they're like, what are you even talking about? Ignore. But even if it's that, it needs to be explained.
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome if it was another bar scene.
Okay, yeah, that would be awesome.
I think because it would be like, hey, let's just have a casual conversation. We don't have to make like a big history. We'll just have a casual conversation, move on.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. So,
Yeah.
one of the other reasons why I wanted to bring a dude on the show is because
What up?
We've got Mike here representing the male perspective. I didn't want
that's
fans
that deep
out.
voice we've been hearing.
I didn't want fans out there thinking that this was a girl-only comic because only girls were like reviewing it. So, does anyone here think that this comic is specifically targeting only female readers? I honestly don't think that it is, but I'm asking the question just because I'm asking the question.
It could be in two ways. Number one, the fact that the two core characters are females. And number two, because almost every single Transformers fangirl has some sort of love or hate relationship with Starscream.
You're not supposed to know about that.
I always hated Starscream until recently.
Yeah. As a guy who reads, I read Batgirl. What else do I read? I read Tomb Raider, which are both Gail Simone books. I like reading from the female perspective. I don't feel that it's just for girls. And it's Transformers. Transformers at its heart will be for everybody, but in a lot of cases mainly for guys, depending on who's the main character. But no, I didn't feel out of place reading it at all.
Good.
Nicole?
Anybody else?
Yeah. Sorry.
No.
I want to make sure that everybody doesn't, gets a chance to say something. Go ahead.
Oh no, I think it's a good story will appeal to either gender. A good story will appeal to younger readers or older readers, and I believe this is a story that fulfills that. I mean, just because the main character is female doesn't mean that it could. I mean, hello, we got 3 female readers here where Transformers are mostly quote unquote male, So why can't the roles be reversed? No, it's well written. It's got some great art in it. It's going to appeal to either gender, I'd say.
Cool.
I hope so. I think the writing and the art and the storytelling are all top notch. So hopefully anybody can enjoy it.
I completely agree. I even just, to be honest, I put that out there just because, like I said, I don't want anybody thinking by default just because the writer is a female, the artist is a female. They have a lot of females, and like I said, we got a bunch of girls reviewing it as well. That this is for girls. It's like absolutely not. It's like I think good storytelling is good for every age. My Little Pony has mostly a female cast, and a lot of guys like it. Just saying.
That's true.
I think that assumption, at least when Hasbro's concerned, should be challenged.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the age-old thing. I mean, I remember even as a kid being told, oh, you can't watch Transformers because it's for boys, which only made me want to watch it more.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't care. I lived on a street where I was the only girl for at least good 2 or 3 streets away. I was outside playing army with the boys and tag, and I had to keep up, and I had to throw rocks, and I had to take my licks just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So, for me, watching Transformers and G.I. Joe, I was like, I don't care if it's for boys. I was like, I live within that realm. It's like, I had brothers, I didn't have sisters, I have 2 sons. Come on, man. Just Yeah.
Yes.
That's
dividing entertainment into genders is a silly idea to even try to do.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
And it's an artificial construct whenever you try to do it. And yeah, it's just silly.
I was not the girl that wanted to go out, go to her room and have a tea party with my Barbies and my Cabbage Patch Kids. That was not me.
Yeah.
So.
No, you just wanted to have a tea party with Whirl and Rum.
And it wouldn't be tea. It would probably use guns.
Now, I have a question because, there's a question whether or not this could become an ongoing. Do you guys think after seeing this first issue, is this something that you think should continue after 4 issues, or is it something that, that 4 issues is going to tell the story and anything longer would be just kind of dragging it out? What do you think?
I think it depends. It depends on several things. Number one, how many of John's characters they're going to bring in, because if they are going to stay on Cybertron, it would be coinciding with Rid. So it depends on what Rid is doing for a storyline. If they were going to take them off Cybertron, I could see it existing as its own entity, but I don't know about past 4 issues if they're going to stay on Cybertron, because not that it would be a huge conflict of interest, but it would just be, oh, here's Robots in Disguise with all this going on, and then come over to Windblade and find out, I could see it maybe working if in Rid they build Mega City 1 and in Windblade they build Mega City 2.
I think it's too soon to kind of because we're just starting to see how things are set up on Cybertron. Obviously, we don't know the long game, what John is playing at, because I've heard a lot of theories, especially just in the last week, just because of the other shows that we've kind of put out on the Underbase. Chris has had a couple where he's basically said that everything that John has built up it's all paid off now.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that John is building something new on Earth, and I don't know what that's going to look like because we haven't even seen anything of season 2, supposedly, yet. So it's, I think that I really want to see what Windblade gives us. So I really can't see past the 4 issues yet until I've actually got the 4 issues.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to it because I think just based off what I've seen right now, I love the art. I love what's going on. I love what Margaret is doing. We've already seen that she's, because the Beast Hunters comic was hopefully going to be an ongoing, and then they cut it off, and it only went 8 issues. I've already seen what she's able to do. I think she's perfectly capable of writing an ongoing, and I would be happy to see her write one. But at the same time, also looking at the art, I think that even Sarah could support one. She's got a really great style. I think that it would be really cool to just see her go and do it. And I think that the more she works on it, the faster she'll get. She'll be just like all the other artists that are working on ongoing right now. She'll find her groove and she'll go for it.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that nobody ever gets burned out. That's like please, all of you wonderful people, don't get burned out.
Well, the good thing is that there's a lot of other artists to kind of jump in every once in a while and give everybody a break too. So
yeah. My
I'm
opinion,
just glad.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Nicole. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, my opinion is, I think 4 issues is good for a single character.
They definitely have to call it something else. Yeah, afterwards.
No, I think this is me being selfish, and I think this would be great for a 4 issue, and then they could do one of the other fembots. Do one. Do one
Nautica.
on Nautica, man.
Although James is going to have Nautica, so I don't know. We'll see.
No, but you see, that's what you're saying about it.
She could take a break and have an offshoot, the Wreckers.
Do, her views on, I'm stuck on Earth, or where's she going? Is she going on more than Meets the Eye?
Yeah, she is.
She's going to be stuck on the Lost Light with a bunch of dudes. She pretty much has nowhere to run.
Yes, but she has her wrench, so if anybody of them get out of line, she'll just knock them on the head.
Oh my gosh, I want to watch her versus Whirl so bad.
Oh my god! And I would like to see, an interaction with maybe Nautica and RC, them telling their stories about each other. No, I think 4 issues is good, but I would like to, like I said, I'd like to see, a 4 issue of maybe the other 2 newings.
Maybe they have an adventure between the 6 months later thing, For
there
6
you
months,
go.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, look what happened with Drift. He had 4 issues, and people were they were kind of sick of him after the 4 issues. But I'm not saying that's going to happen here. I'm just saying history. It happened, But no,
it's itself, right?
Yeah. So, right now we're starting off with Big Bang. This issue is really good, and I can't wait to see where it goes. But I think 4 issues is a good amount for one character.
Yeah, I was watching all the people being like, oh yeah, let's make this an ongoing, and I was frankly being like, you guys are crazy. This can't be an ongoing. But if after reading this, if Robots in Disguise stays on Earth and More Than Meets the Eye stays in space, then I want to know what's going on Cybertron.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think of that when I made my point earlier. Yeah, that.
And if this ends up being the Cybertron story, I would be down with that. Now, I obviously would need it to be about more than just Windblade. I'm really excited for Margaret because she's really good at writing a small group of people and giving them each characters. And, so this 4 issue arc is going to be really, really awesome. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. But if, like I said, if the others stay away from Cybertron, I don't want Starscream forgotten. I want to know what he's up to.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
he's doing all of this stuff.
Be doing bad and naughty things.
Absolutely. I agree. And if this is what she's just using to kind of set up that whole dynamic, and then we move off from focusing on one character, and I would be completely fine with that too. Again, like you said, if it's just going to be, that's what the dynamic is going to be from now on. Rid is going to be on Earth. More Than Meets the Eye is going to be off on their quest. I want to know what's going on.
Quest.
We all like a good quest. We all want to know what's going on Cybertron, and it would be great.
Yeah.
And I would love to see this whole Caminus thing. Yeah. Bring them home,
yeah,
baby.
that was so cool.
Bring them home. That would be awesome. I want to know more about this ship that has a hot spot on it.
Yeah.
Most of when all we've known that it's just been on the planet is having a hot spot. So, good stuff.
There was such killer good world building in those pages. I was just like, oh, the top of my head just exploded. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now that I was reminded that Rid is going to Earth and More Than Meets the Eye, I could definitely. I think 4 issues is fine, but like Heather and Nicole have said, if it doesn't continue, how are we going to know what the hell is going on with everybody's least favorite bot?
Awesome. Okay, so does anybody else have anything else more to say about the art?
Sarah's awesome. Keep her.
Yeah. She's rivaling, she's not just rivaling Nick for expressions, she might even be surpassing him.
Ooh, those are strong words.
I know. I am aware of what I just said.
The hair on my arm is just raising up. What?
But think about it. I mean, look at all of these. Look at how incredibly, and not just facial expressions, but body language. She is just really, really, really good at that.
She's rocking it. I have to agree with that. She's definitely rocking it. Yeah.
While we're talking about her artwork, I'm going to just say something about Sarah's artwork because in Dark Cybertron, like I was saying, Windblade did not appeal to me in Dark Cybertron. She was stiff. She didn't really have a personality. With her artwork, she softened her up. She made me interested in the character with her body language. The writing made me interested in who she was as a character. In just one single issue, they've changed my mind about her.
Well done, ladies.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that my favorite part of this book, I mean, when I was looking at it and going, okay, what am I going to say about the art? I was like, my favorite part of this book is the expressiveness of the characters, especially Windblade. It totally sells it. It makes me want to like her. It makes me want to read it. And then, of course, all the pages that we've already discussed in the comic that where I was like, oh, that we already just stopped to discuss. And I said, oh, this page is awesome. Yes. Good times. Oh.
And something that she does that goes back to what Mike was saying about the Prime aesthetic is that she's not all hung up. And I am not saying this as a bad thing on other people who are really good at knowing how each plate fits together and all the hinges work because, Alex is awesome at that. And there's a lot of people, Andrew's really good at that. There's a lot of people who are really good at making Transformers work. But Sarah has made the entire world be this fluid place. And yeah, they're robots and they're made out of metal, but they're also really bendy and cartoony in a way that makes them feel, that fits in with that whole expressiveness and they feel alive. And because she's not hung up on how the hinges work, she's able to, pose them in all these really expressive ways. And they still read as metal. But they never feel like, the toy on your shelf that you're trying really hard to get into this cool pose, but the plastic won't bend that way.
Yeah.
And so that's really, really cool.
All right. Well, final thoughts and a rating.
I'm interested to see where Mr. Mopey goes because all I can think of is that at the end of his scene, all I made was, thanks for noticing me. I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm really glad to see that IDW is putting Margaret in charge of a book that just she is writing.
Yes.
Not that I have anything against Mike from
Mike Johnson.
Rage.
Yeah.
Not that I have anything against him from Rage of the Dinobots and Beast Hunters. In Beast Hunters, I preferred her stories over his because I'm sorry, out of the two of them, she's the better writer. Yeah.
She just had a grasp of it in a way that just seems so much more appealing, I think.
Exactly.
I think he's actually over on the Star Trek comics, and he's actually doing really, really good there, too. So. Yeah.
Final rating for me, I gotta give it 5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't anything that took me out of the book. Okay, sure. In the back of my mind, I'm not thrilled that the Beast Hunters or the Beast Wars characters are in the IDW continuity, but I'm not going to take a point away from it for this because it has nothing to really do with this. But overall, 5 out of 5 for me.
Cool. Nicole?
What can I say? I enjoyed it. It has left a couple questions for me, and I'm not going to splurge just yet. So I'm going to give it a 4. It's very well written. The art's great. I just want to see where it's going to go. So.
Cool. And Heather?
I am really torn because I really want to save my 5s for something that just really blows my mind. And that really expands my understanding of the universe and stuff. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know what? This issue did that. Between the page with her talking to Metroplex and the thing about Caminus, that's really, really high level adding to the universe and making me go, whoa, and giving me stuff to think about for a while. And the art was just stupendous, and the writing was stupendous, and I'm like, crap.
Conflict!
Yeah, really, really, really conflict. Crap. Because I really want to save my 5.
Just do it. Just do it.
There's no shame in giving a 5
There's no
to
shame
a first
in that,
issue.
Yeah, it was good. All right, give it a 5. Give it a 5 for the Metroplex page. 5 for the Metroplex page. I've been wanting that for years and years. Go, go, go.
Awesome. I can't wait to read the next one. It definitely delivered, and I'm completely cool with it. I think it's brilliant, and I highly recommend it. I'm glad I got behind it 100% when they said they were going to do it, and I was like, yes! And I'm going to give it a solid 4, because there's 2 of us that have 5s and 2 of us that have 4s. You know, this is really kind of cool. We have 4 podcasters on here, and everybody has given different reasons, like the whole time. It's been really brilliant. So, and this issue, of course, has been very brilliant too, because it's completely rocking. She isn't a Mary Sue for any of you naysayers out there to be saying, oh, Windblade is a Mary Sue. I just had to put that out there. Chris was right. This is not, she's not a Mary Sue. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Anyhow. Yeah. Go read his rant on Twitter. It was great. It has
Nothing better than a McFeely rant, I tell you.
Nothing better than.
Yes, when McFeely rants, you better listen because he's awesome. It has been a
Unless
pleasure.
you're talking about Harley Quinn. That's an argument that me and Chris will never settle.
Oh, and occasionally we've all had our run-ins with McFeely. I was just remembering the whole thing about the eyes, the changing colors of the eyes. He was wrong once. Just saying. Okay, so it has been an absolute pleasure, ladies. And of course, I'm glad that Mike was able to join us as well. So, crossover achievement acquired! Boom!
Join us next time when we will reunite for issue 2.
Thanks for joining me this evening, y'all. So, also before we leave, links to both shows will be in the show notes, and Full Metal Hero, and GeekCastRadio.com. And we'll catch you, all of you listeners, next month on issue 2. Thanks for tuning in.
Aloha.
Woohoo.
Woohoo!
Make your great escape into comics.
Open. Damn it, open!
Oh my gosh, this is so great.
Come on, you stupid search engine. Open, damn it, open.
Why don't you ask nicely?
That was a nice Ultra Magnus.
Because sometimes you just gotta kick it.
Oh my gosh.
This isn't your puppy. You don't kick it.
Voice comes out of the Matrix like a little genie or something.
Yeah. That's alright. He just can't deal with it right now.
Can't deal with it.
Nice Transformers reference.
So is the open, damn it, open.
Prime, you said this thing would light our darkest hour.
Maybe it's not your darkest hour. What? It could get darker than this? Really?
Sweeps, exterminate him!
Kaboom! With this, I'll make you my slave. Everybody!
Yeah, I know, right?
Everybody dance now. Boom,
Boom, boom, boom, boom.
Get out of the way, Hot Rod, you idiot!
Woohoo!
Nicole, I love you.
Which personality are you wanting?
The ever awesome one?
Oh, all personalities come with that.
Okay, good. Well, then, anyone then.
Woohoo! Woohoo! No, I was thinking about this. I'm like, it's like
God.
Charlie's Angels.
It's
And
Charlie's
Mike
Angels.
Charlie.
Oh, God. I am so
I'm
not
Charlie.
Bosley. Yeah, thank you. I was going to say, I'm so not Bosley.
And I have, like, steadfastly avoided Charlie's Angels, so I'm like, I don't know anything about it. Don't know anything about it. Don't know.
Basically, all you need to know is that...
I'm Farrah Fawcett.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Okay.
She's the pinup girl.
I'm the pinup girl, yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right, there you go. How's that for outtakes? Boom.
Yes. Wow, you need a Farrah Fawcett wig now so bad.
Among the other wigs that I need, right? The one that's the blonde fro, because I'm a female bro, not a bro.
Oh, no.
Bro.
Oh, jeez.
She needs the blonde wig and the red bathing suit. Woohoo! You're not calling Amy a lady? Jeez. Wow. I'll give you a shovel so you can just start digging.
Right.
I'm a pain in the butt, aren't
I love you, Nicole.
Let's let the rest of the nails go, because you're hammering us into the ground.
Oh, sweetheart, you know I am no nail. Skepticon all the way.
Wow, there is no forgiveness for being called a nail.
Oh, God.
I was making a sledgehammer joke.
It's all Prowl's fault.
I'd rather be called an Autobot than a nail. God.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm a Cybertronian.
That's just like saying we're all part of the human race. That's so politically correct of you.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you are leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.